Hi, everyone, and welcome to my session on Know Your Teenage Brain. So, this is about the teenage brain. Now, tell me one very important thing. When you buy a phone, a laptop, or any kind of appliance, does it come with a user manual? Yes or no? How to use it, how to make the best use of an object, of a thing that you've purchased? Yes or no? Correct. Similarly, our brain is the most powerful organ in our body, right? We use it all the time throughout the day, even while we're asleep. But does it come with a user manual? It doesn't, right? It doesn't come with a user manual. Now, let me tell you another thing, but don't you think it's strange? It should come with a user manual as to how we should use our brain, correct? So you might say that school teaches you, teachers teach you how to use your brain, parents teach you how to use your brain. But what they essentially do is that they teach you all the external things, like school teach you maths, English, history, geography. Parents teach you values, discipline. Society teaches you social intelligence, relationships, rules, regulations, obedience, being responsible, etc., etc. But nobody teaches you how to use this powerful organ, which is how to use your brain. E- People teach you everything about the external world, but nobody teaches you about the internal world. And brain sits at the center of this internal world. Remember, it is the most powerful organ in your body. It is basically, it is the brain that decides after school when you go home whether to scroll or to revise for the science exam. The brain is making decisions all the time, all the time. So today we're going to understand teenage brain. Uh, why teenagers need to understand teenage brain? Before we get into that, uh, one of the most important thing is that teenagers share the same brain. What do I mean by this? I mean, of course, we all share the same brain, but as far as teenage brains are concerned, there is a process of your brain being developing, which has started before you were born. There is a process that has started of your brain being developed, which we are going to understand today. So that is what we're going to cover in today's session. But most importantly, I want to ask you another question. How many of you are how many of you have questions like, who am I? Where do I belong? Who are my friends? What should be my next step? What are the new experience should I look at? Etc. etc. Yes, you experience that. You have such questions. So let me tell you, congratulations, you are a normal teenager. Okay. So yes, teenagers are more they are more excited and attracted, and there is attraction towards novelty, towards new experiences, etc. And that's what makes teenage very alive, very lively. Correct? Uh, so yeah, you are a normal teenager. You are in the age of identity formation. Okay, you are shaping your identity. This is the phase of transition for you. Your personality is getting developed. Of course, you belong to your parents. Of course, you have a surname, you have a community. But beyond that, who am I? Is a question that you constantly have. Who am I before the world tells me who to be, right? So I'm hoping that this session is going to give you a lot of answers that you have been seeking for a very long time during your teenage. So let's get started. Okay. Now, first of all, why should you care about your teenage brain? Okay. Why should you care about your teenage brain? Uh, the reason why you should care about your teenage brain is that because, first of all, your brain is a CEO. What does a CEO does? CEO takes all the important decision, right? But in a company, if you do not know who the CEO is, what the CEO's direction is, how would the company run? Correct? If there is no CEO, if the CEO is if the CEO has resigned and next CEO hasn't been appointed, it would be total chaos, because how would we ensure there is order, discipline, direction to the company? So similarly, understanding the brain is very important for you in this critical transition phase of your life, Because during this phase, the decisions that you make are going to shape up your life. Your parents tell you, right? You have to be careful, you have to make the wise decision, etc., etc. So somewhere understanding your brain will help you become a better decision maker, short term decision as well as long term decisions, and it will help you understand yourself well. And so understanding your brain is basically understanding yourself, and that is why you should care about this lecture. Okay, next slide. So let me tell you something. Your brain is under construction. Now what I mean by this is that, what do you see on the screen? Okay, you see the human brain, basically that is your brain. Okay, now first understand one thing. You see there is a neuron in the table below. There is a neuron. Okay, now the brain is made up of neurons. Okay, these wires, these wire like substance, the brain is made up of these neurons. Okay, there are around 85 billion neurons, that your brain is made up of approximately. And what you see is that these neurons are basically the messengers. Okay, these neurons basically communicate with each other. Okay, so the more they are strengthened, the more their connections are strengthened, the better the brain power. You don't have to. I'm not going to cover neuroscience, or I'm not going to cover a complicated science, but life science, simple science to understand yourself better. Okay, so do not get intimidated by these terms. You do not have to remember these terms. Okay, all right, chill, just chill. Now what is happening is that, uh, what happens is that, can you see another neuron which is covered by this white coating? Now this white coating is called myelin. Okay, now your brain, even before you are born, uh, your neurons start getting covered by a white coating, and that is called myelin. Okay, now the brain starts from the back to the front. So if you see the yellow portion, that is not yet covered, but the myelinization has begun, like it is being covered by the myelin. Okay, now first of all, why is it being covered by the myelin? What is the reason? Now I'll give you a simple example. At your home, do you see wires being coated by white plastic? There are this the wires are being coated all the time. Why they are coated? They are coated for safety and efficiency, right? So that the electricity flows well. For the electrical wires, it is coated by the white plastic tapes, etc. Because so that the so the electricity passes through efficiently. Correct. Similarly, your brains, from the backside, most of your brain parts are, I mean, the neurons are covered to strengthen those parts. Okay. And this entire thing will become, the yellow part will also become, white and pink. Uh, I mean, this yellow is only for the purpose of your understanding. It's not that your your half of the brain is yellow or so. Nothing like that. Let me clarify that. But myelinization will take place throughout your brain, and when this will get covered, your brain will become more and more stronger. So right now, your that yellow part is not yet covered. That is part behind your forehead, that is your prefrontal cortex, is not yet covered. Only from back to front, but front to some extent only is being covered. So basically, these regions of your brain are covered, and this remaining yellow part will get covered over a period of time by the time you turn 25. So if your parents tell you that you are mature, you act like an adult, you can safely tell them that no, I'm still a child. My myelinization has not yet covered my prefrontal cortex. I know the science terms would be very difficult for you to understand, but don't worry, you will understand everything. Okay? Okay, now how many of you feel that you're being judged all the time? All eyes are looking at you. How many of you feel that people are judging me? What will people think about me, etc.? A lot of you, right? Yes, yes, I can understand. You can relate with this image, right? Like when you go to school, okay, what perception am I creating? Oh, can I put this Insta story? Can I do this? Can I do that? You feel life very deeply. And today you will understand why do you feel life deeply. Okay. Now meet the two bosses in your brain. Okay. So there are two departments. See, you don't have to understand any scientific terms, any brain organs, etc. But you need to understand two things about your brain. Those are the two bosses of your brain, the two departments in your brain. So the first is your prefrontal cortex, which is your thinking brain, and the second is amygdala, which is your feeling brain. Now, as we discussed in the last slide, the myelinization process. What is myelinization process? The white coating has already begun. So here in this, in on the slide, you can see that your brain has turned completely white. Okay, that is just to show that the brain actually doesn't turn white. The neurons in the brain get covered by that white coating, which is called myelinization. So it strengthens those part of your brain जहां जहां पर myelin cover हुआ है. It Those have been strengthened. Those neurons, those electric wires have been strengthened. Now you see the blue part. In the last slide, we seen that yellow part which is not yet covered. So the blue part is your prefrontal cortex, which is not yet covered. Your prefrontal cortex, you don't have to remember this term. Prefrontal cortex is your thinking brain, and amygdala, the orange part, which is also myelinized, it is highlighted in orange for you to for you to see which is amygdala. So you can see that amygdala is your feeling brain. Okay, it is not. It is covered. It is also covered by myelinization. So what do you understand by this? You understand by this that what do you understand by this? You understand that your feeling brain, all you need to understand is that your feeling brain has become more powerful than your thinking brain. And how and why? Because your thinking brain is not yet covered by myelin. It has not yet received the white coating. You getting it? It has not been strengthened as much. And that is why you feel emotions very deeply. You feel a rejection very deeply. You feel a failure very deeply. You feel humiliated if your teacher points out your mistake in a class. You're getting the point. It is not your fault. It is not that you are overthinking. You attach yourself labels like, oh baby, I'm overthinking, I'm doing that, doing all of this. No, it is your biology. Every teenager feels life deeply because why? Because this is biology. Your feeling brain has become way too powerful than your thinking brain, because your thinking brain is developed, but it is not yet strengthened. And when will it get strengthened? It will completely get myelinated by the time you are 25. So you are properly an adult when you are 25. Okay, it doesn't mean that the thinking brain doesn't work. It does work, but your feeling brain has become more powerful, more dominant than your thinking brain. You getting the point? Are you getting the point? So you need to basically understand your biology. If you are feeling something, now you are understanding that why you're feeling something deeply, because your emotion part, the amygdala is the emotion center. It is something that enables you to take quick action, to feel things, to you c- and your prefrontal cortex is about understanding. Okay, I'll also give you a certain example. Okay, now I'll tell you another example before we go to the next slide. See, if you are in a jungle, okay, if a tiger roars, what will you do? What will you do? You will run away, right? That is your amygdala acting. Okay, you will not sit and analyze if it is a tiger's voice, if it is a lion's voice, and what should I do next. Correct? You will not analyze that, right? So basically, your feeling brains, your feeling part of the brain, the feeling department, helps you survive. Okay, and that is why the brain is developed from back to front. Why intelligence, thinking, analysis come at the last? Why it gets developed until you are 25 and not before that? You know why? Because as a child, as a baby, as an infant, as a child, as a teenager, as a young person, uh, you need to be open to new experiences. You need to understand the world. You don't need analysis at that time. You need to basically have that sense of wonder. And with that sense of wonder, when you become more and more adventurous, your feeling brain tells you where is the threat. You getting it? So for a baby, for a child, survival is more important than thinking and making notes, right? All that will be developed eventually. And therefore, nature has first strengthened your survival system and then will strengthen your long-term thinking system. See, you can think any which ways. As a child, you can think, etc. Thinking brain का मतलब होता है your capacity to think long term, to look at things from a very wide perspective, etc. Now you're getting it. Now you are absolutely getting what is really happening with you. You think there is something wrong with me. I'll give you a very simple example. When you were a child, when your parents would scold you, when your teacher would scold you, you would probably feel bad for a minute or so, and you would just carry on playing, etc. and everything. But now when your parents scold you, now when your teachers scold you, or they point out your mistake, you get very affected. You get affected for more than 4 or 5 hours, maybe more than a day, maybe for a lot of days, maybe for a lot of months. You never know. And because you need to understand, it's not your fault. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not going through some mental illness. It's basically your emotional brain, your thinking brain, your amygdala has become more powerful. Why and how is it become powerful? Because it is it is covered by myelin. It is being strengthened. Your survival system is strengthened, and your thinking brain hasn't strengthened enough to balance that feeling and thinking. See, eventually you don't have to be absolutely practical and not feel anything. Basically, you balance. And when does that balance happen? After you are 25, right? Everything will keep on happening, everything will fall in place, etc. Now, another thing is that now everything is clear with you. Is it clear to you? You just have to remember one thing: your feeling brain and your thinking brain. Your feeling brain is your amygdala, your thinking brain is your prefrontal cortex. Feeling brain is strengthened. Why? Because it has been myelinized, it has been covered by myelin, which is the white coating. Why that white coating? Because to strengthen that. Why it is being strengthened? Why your feeling brain is strengthened first? For your survival. Survival is strengthened first, then comes the thinking, long-term thinking, analysis, and all of that comes later. So therefore, nature has created you beautifully. You are unique, but your brain is incredibly similar, especially the teenage brain. So you're getting it? And therefore, you feel life deeply. Now, again, I'll tell you another thing before we go to the next slide. See, feeling life deeply is not a weakness. Let me tell you that. It is not a weakness at all. It is good that you are feeling, you are processing a lot of things. And once as you feel, and once you're taught how to, the challenge is how you deal with your feelings. And once you learn how to deal with your feelings, you will get better. Okay, you will understand. Now that you understand, tomorrow if someone points some mistakes of yours, and you feel bad, so you can immediately tell yourself that no, this is my thinking brain, so this is my feeling brain that is being strengthened, so I'm feeling this. I need to now tell my thinking brain, analyze the situation. No, my teacher pointed out this. Okay, because I did that, okay, I will improve. Okay, so you need to process that. So once you have that awareness that there is a feeling brain and a thinking brain, it makes a lot of difference. I hope you are getting it. Please post your questions in the comment if anything is unclear to you. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. So you might wonder, so sir, what do we do? Our brain is underdeveloped. Biology is to be blamed. Nature is to be blamed. So much confusion. Now let me tell you something. So here is the solution. Now that you know that your feeling brain is overpowered, it is dominant, it is more powerful, and your thinking brain is uh, still developing itself. What is very important for you when your parents tell you, you must listen to us, you must listen to us. So yes, you must listen to your parents, you must listen to your coaches, teachers, mentors, etc. Why you must listen to them? Because their thinking brain is already developed. You getting it? Their thinking brain is already mature. Now, I don't say that parents and adults are always right. that they will always completely understand you. All I'm trying to say is that whenever you make big decisions, although your brain is still developing and your thinking brain is getting strengthened, what is really important is that there are going to be many, many decisions that are going to come your way. A relationship, uh, a subject, an elective, a program, career choices, sports to take up, etc. What I suggest is that your decision are likely to be influenced by peer pressure. You remember that feeling brain takes over. So peer pressure, that few people are playing cricket, then I also need to play cricket because you don't want to feel left out. Remember one thing, the feeling brain again is dominant, is powerful. So what do you do? Uh, you should always remember this one rule. When you are making a big decision, you have big emotion, so borrow a bigger brain. Now, what I mean is that borrow a thinking brain. What do I mean by this is you can consult an adult you trust. It could be your parent, it could be your teacher, it could be your coaches, it could be your mentors, it could be a senior cousin or someone who's an adult who can help you make a decision, whom you don't have to listen to them, but you can say about the pros and the cons, and they can help you with understanding yourself. Okay, so you don't have to take the pressure of the entire decision on yourself. Is it clear to you? And that is the role of an adult in your life. The role of an adult is, that person acts as a thinking brain, as a prefrontal cortex to you, and that's what makes all the difference. Right? Correct? So remember this one rule, whenever you, and in general, whenever you experience big emotion, there are sometimes you just can't, it's too overwhelming for you. There are too many factors influencing a decision, an experience at school, at college, peer pressure, etc., etc. Just consult an adult. Whoever you feel emotionally safe with, just consult an adult. And that is going to make a lot of difference for you. And if you do not have any trusted adult, please work on finding mentors, or developing that relationship with your parents, maybe with your teachers, maybe. And you can always consult them before taking a decision, or if you are feeling overwhelming, remember they act as your thinking brain. Okay. Next, as I said, that why did nature build you this way? As a baby, to the child, to the teenager, to adult. As I said, that for a baby and for child, survival is very important. Survival, exploring everything, feeling things, looking at everything, and not stabilizing things and making things rigid. Uh, that's what a thinking brain does, right? It stabilizes, it creates order. So as a child, you need to be exploratory. Nature has given you the gift. It is a unique gift to have a developing mind, because your mind, what is the power of this brain? It is more it is more open to experiences, newer experiences. As we turn older, we get very we we maintain a flexible mind, but then we try to play too safe a lot of time. But you can gather a lot of different experiences, diverse experiences, adventurous experiences, academically challenging experience. It will all strengthen your brain and make it super agile and flexible. So that is also your superpower, because when you attach emotions to certain things, you learn better. It is likely to stick into your mind, etc. So that is the superpower. And why did nature give you this brain the way it gave you an underdeveloped brain or a developing brain? Uh, for a reason. Because first, the survival is strengthened, and then the other things. Correct? So what you need to always understand and what you need to remember is that you are still under construction. Okay. uh, your brain explains you, but it doesn't define you. I'm not saying that you are limited or your brain is underdeveloped, so start blaming your biology. No. Now that you understand that your brain is still developing, it is not underdeveloped, it's under construction, as in it's still developing. Every day, myelinization is taking place in your brain. It is a gradual, slow process which will cover your brain completely by the time you are 25. Okay. So you need to remember this, and you need to remember that you can rely on an adult who makes you emotionally safe, to take decisions, to understand things, right? So that is what you are. You are in under construction, you are in the process of identity formation. You can ask a lot of questions, and this basically understanding the limitation of your emotional understanding the limitations of your brain is actually liberating, because now you know that, okay, this is my mind playing, these are my emotions playing. No, I need to use my thinking brain now. Okay, but still it's overwhelming. Let me involve my mother in this. Let me discuss this with my mom. Let me discuss this with my dad. Let me discuss this with my teacher, and become wiser, become intelligent, right? Because at the end of the day, it is all about knowing yourself. The more you know yourself, the better decision you will make, right? So that is the important thing about your teenage brain. There is nothing wrong with you. Everything is fine with you. It is normal to be confused. It is normal to overthink. Don't attach such labels and self-limiting beliefs to yourself. Every teenage brain is same. It's everyone's brain is rapidly as well as rapidly because of your own choices and experiences, and myelinization taking gradually. So your brain is developing all the time. It is under construction. It is developing, just like on a driver's seat. Like, when you are learning, you need an instructor. So adults are instructors who are going to guide you, uh, where you should consult them to drive this brain, to drive this vehicle that is your brain, and that is going to make a lot of difference in your life. I hope this lecture gives you a basic feature of teenage brain and helps you understand yourself. Remember one thing, your feeling brain, your amygdala has become more powerful because it is covered by myelin. Okay, your thinking brain is is active, but it hasn't become more powerful yet. It will eventually, by the time you are 25, and you will create a balance between your emotions and your thinking. Okay, but it is a process. Until that time, stop attaching labels to yourself, stop accepting self-limiting belief. If anything gets overwhelming to you, remember one thing, borrow a bigger brain, that is consult an adult whom you trust. Okay, it could be a parent, teacher, a cousin, anyone. Okay, so now that you know about it, congratulations. You are a normal teenager. Nothing is wrong with you.